This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 523 of the Dressage Radio Show, official podcast of the United States Dressage Federation on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products and Total Saddle Fit. On today's episode, we have 2019 Pan Am Canadian team member Tina Irwin. And then Karen Isberg will come on to talk about her journey as an adult amateur rider, followed by a trainer tip from Jen Baumert.
Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Rockwood, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Hi, Phil.
Hi, Reese. Tell everybody why we're recording halfway through July for end of July episode.
We are. So I am really excited. I leave on Monday, which will be the 15th of July, for the Dressage Foundation's Young Rider International Dream Program. I am one of the chaperones with my trusty sidekick, Bill McMullen. We're really looking forward to this. We have 4 riders, young rider participants that are with us, Sophia, Bridget, Emma, and Raisa, from all over the country, and they applied for this grant. And we will be at the Aachen Horse Show speaking to all kinds of professionals in the industry for the week. So we are recording early. And please, I will try to keep for sure on my personal Facebook page. I will kind of catalog or show our adventures in Aachen, and also the Dressage Foundation has their own website, and I'll try to keep the Dressage Radio Show and do a couple on there. So I hope you will enjoy kind of following along with us. And I already told the girls they are going to have to come on the show and do a roundtable when we get back. So I'm sure they're all looking forward to it. So that's what we're up to.
I'm jealous. That's one of the biggest shows. I think, if you're a dressage fan, you would like to be there,
Yep. Yeah, it's we're calling it my summer of chaperoning. It's highly ironic because many people know I don't have children, so I have had lots of children to take over to seize, but they're not children. They're all adults,
young adults, yeah,
young adults, and just there. I've been really having to brush up on my German skills, which is not necessarily a bad thing, and I'm really looking forward to it. So it's been on my bucket list too. So we are recording a little bit early. We've done 2 shows tonight, so for a little slap happy, that's probably why. But we're just getting ready for the trip, and I'm really looking forward to it. So and when we get back, it'll be Pan Am time. So I hope we're really going to enjoy.
And Young Rider time.
And Young Rider time.
Yeah.
It is summer in Kentucky, in Horse Show in Kentucky, and lots of stuff going on. So my team here, Philip and Jemmy, have been so good to get this done, and we can't wait to share our journey with you guys. So we're going to get started. We've got a great show, and we're giving Canada some love with Tina Irwin. She is the 2019 Pan American representative for Canada, and we hope you enjoy her interview. Well, we are very excited to have back now member of the 2019 Canadian Pan American Game team, Tina Irwin. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, this is so excited. We just did an interview about young riders, and you and I did young riders at the same time. Of course, that was 2 years ago. So it's really fun for me to see that you've made the team, and I just couldn't be more excited for you on your trip and your adventure.
Yeah, no, thank you. I know Young Riders doesn't seem like is a long time ago, but I feel like it wasn't that long ago. It seems like yesterday.
It does. So tell us about your horse and your preparation now for the Pan American Games.
Well, I have Laurencio as my partner for the Pan Am Games. He's a 12-year-old 16 two-hand Oldenburg gelding by Laurencio Donnerhall. And we got him as a 4-year-old imported from Germany. He was a jumper at the time, and they didn't find he was that well suited to jumping. So we tried him out as a dressage prospect. And we brought him over and developed him through the levels. And now this is our first major team. So we did 2 Nations Cups in Wellington over the last couple of years, but this is the major senior team that we're doing together.
The big deal, right?
The big one.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, a lot of preparation happening over the last few months, of course. So started with the qualifying in Wellington, January through March. We had to achieve at least 3 scores there. And then we had to have another qualifying score after April the 1st, according to our criteria. So I did a competition here in our nation's capital in Ottawa. And that was the final show for us because I really, the horse is a seasoned competitor and I didn't want to put too many miles on him, and I'd like him as fresh as possible going into the actual game. So my strategy was to do, the bare minimum shows and qualify that way.
So just can you tell us a little bit about your season? I mean, about, how he came along, some of the things that you maybe had to work on with Laurencio, just a little bit of background information on him.
Sure. Well, the previous year, in 2018, I competed him Grand Prix for the year. So we downgraded him for the Pan Ams because we felt that he would achieve, higher scores at that level at this time. So being fairly new to the Grand Prix still, we thought, well, he has proven really to be very successful at the small tour. So let's put him down for Pan Ams. So that was the goal. And of course, in the beginning of the season, he was still a little bit more Grand Prix programmed. So it caught me off guard. I didn't think it would actually be that difficult to bring him down to the lower level. And then when I went in the test, he threw in a couple ones here and there, and he was a little sharper than I wanted. And I thought, oh, okay. So really had to stay away from doing 1 tempies and any of the Grand Prix stuff, because even in the walk, picking him up, he was ready to piaffe, or I had to totally stay away from that. I couldn't even practice it to get him really back in the mode of small tour. So that did surprise me how much I really did think it was going to be easier than it was. So we were a little bit ring rusty, I'd say, in January, and then we kind of started to pick it up and go more towards where we wanted to be.
And maybe talk a little bit about, because I noticed, through the news and, I think we're Facebook friends or whatever, that actually your husband, James Irwin, you hurt your hand in Florida, and he ended up showing him in a competition. So I think that's kind of unique. And
yeah, it was a bit crazy. I think it was going to be the 3rd show of Florida for me and him. And literally a day before the competition started, I was helping. I just kind of happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was just about lunchtime at the stable we're renting in Florida, and one of the other horses was getting picked up to go to the water treadmill. And so I happened to be walking out of the barn at the same time, and the horse wouldn't go on the trailer. And I said, I'll just turn around and, go again. And then I just kind of put my arm up behind her to say, come on, go. And she fired out with both hind legs. And she got me in my left hand and my right hip. And so instantly I kind of stumbled over onto the ground, and I looked down at my hand, and I just almost started crying because I saw my hand, and it was huge. It was gigantic. And Jamie was on a horse, and he came running over, and he said, oh my God, your hand looks horrible. That's broken for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I know it looked so bad. And I said, I don't know about my hip. My hip is really sore. So anyhow, it was, we went to the hospital, had it all checked out. Funny, of course, being in Wellington, the doctor that I saw in Emerge, of course, his wife was a dressage rider. So he was telling me all about that and who she rode with and how she knew who we were and all this stuff. And he saw me in my riding pants, what happened? And so the service was really excellent. I mean, I got looked after immediately. I was in and out of there. And funny, my wedding ring was on.
Ouch.
And on the hand that was kicked. And so they said, well, we've got to get those rings off. So I said, I don't think you're going to get them off. And they're like, well, let's try a few things, before we cut them. And this doctor, there were doctors in and out, and he just put this bag of ice, freezing cold bag of ice, on my finger. And he said, hold your hand up for 2 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to pull them off. And actually, they came off. I don't even know how it was possible.
Yes.
So it was amazing.
I'd be like, oh, thank God you saved the rings.
Yeah, no, it was quite something. Anyhow, and he came back and he said, we looked at the x-ray and we don't think you've broken anything. And I said, I don't even know how it's possible. I said, you got really lucky. He said, but let's, in a week, I want you to see a specialist just to be sure. So, I did that. I was really kind of sweating and thinking, oh man, if this is broken and this has to stay in a cast, and they put me in a bit of a cast just to hold everything still until we knew for sure. I went a few days later, had it checked, and the guy said, the surgeon said, no, take it out, get it moving, you're good. So very, very, very lucky. And then, I was trying for the Nations Cup. So Jamie, so he basically, the next day I said, well, we've got a scratch, I'm obviously not riding. And then I said, well, wait a second, why don't you ride? Because I've entered the horse, I don't get any money back. And he said, well, I haven't ridden him in months. And I said, well, I mean, how hard is it? You teach me on him all the time. You're a professional.
How hard is it?
It's a catch ride. You know him. And he said, okay. So he agreed. And he won the St. George. He won the I-1. He had amazing rides. And the freestyle was a bit of a different story, but, that's very personal.
Yeah.
So that was just different. I think you have to have a little bit more chemistry with the horse and the music and all of that. But he did amazing. And so that was kind of cool. And I was, the proud owner standing by watching. It made me very proud to see my horse and my husband out there and looking so good. And it shows, the horse's temperament. He's just whatever. You ride me, he rides me, whoever, I'll just do my job. So he's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
That's so cool. So Tina, tell us what happens now. So we are actually recording mid-July, and you're going to training camp, right? Pretty soon? Yeah.
So Saturday, the horses leave to go to Wellington, Florida for, we call it our staging camp. And we will be there for 1 week. And Jamie and myself, we leave on Sunday, and the other riders as well. And the horses and the grooms will arrive Saturday. So we'll leave Saturday and the horses arrive Sunday early, and the grooms will be there Saturday. So
maybe Tina, you can just tell us a little bit about the rest of the Canadian team and the riders who will be representing us. Yeah.
So we have Jill Irving, who's on the team as one of our Grand Prix riders. Also Naima Liberté, who is also one of our Grand Prix riders. Lindsay Kellogg and I are the small tour riders. So we have 2 and 2. And Lindsay and Naima, it'll be their first time on a senior team. And Jill was on the World Equestrian Games team last year. And I did the Pan Ams 8 years ago in Mexico. So it's a good mix. They're really great people, good riders, good horses. I think we have an excellent team. Everybody seems to be very consistent and good under pressure. So, I'm looking forward to having some team bonding. And
we're trying to earn an Olympic berth here.
Right.
The Americans already have their spot in the Olympics secured. So
correct.
There's a little pressure on you guys. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, it always seems like there's pressure. Well, there always is pressure at the Pan Ams because that's where we generally qualify. So, we do have to win a team medal. So everybody has to kind of pull their weight and have a good performance. But, I feel good about it. I think everyone who's on the team has really shown that they're capable of doing that consistently over the season. I'm feeling good about it. I think it's going to be more about how the horses travel. There are a lot of variables in getting there, starting with going to Florida in the middle of the summer. So luckily it's been very hot here as well. So, that way our horses are a little bit used to the humidity. So the long 30-hour trip to Wellington, arriving, being there for a week, how much do you ride in the heat? How much do you do? It's a balance. And then, of course, the flight to Lima. So the Canadian horses will fly together with the American team from Miami. So that's 8 horses on a cargo plane organized by Duda Corporation, and they will fly directly into Lima. So that's about 5.5 hours, I believe.
And what are some challenges in Lima? Because I don't think any of us know. Like, what do you guys know, and what are you preparing for? Because what is it going to look like down there?
So our federation, they do a site check a year prior. So we get all the information from them about everything. They check everything out. So it looks to be quite safe. It looks to be beautiful weather, actually, perfect for riding, because in South America, it's their winter at the moment. So it'll be like 20, 21 degrees Celsius. Sorry, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Nice. Very comfortable, excellent food. I'm told, like, it's supposed to be some of the best food in the world. The Peruvian food. Yeah. Oh. Safe. The venue is supposed to be very nice, good shopping, very artsy area. I think one of the biggest challenges, from what I understand, was the transport for the horses from the airport to the venue, because their style or standard of horse transportation is not what ours is. And although they received new trucks, they didn't have a roof, for example, on top. Whoa. Yeah, like just sort of wooden floors, like not really acceptable for our horses. So There was some concern there. But I believe Tim Duda and his team, they really worked and made sure that, there would be something acceptable. And they transformed the horse transport into something, because they can't bring the trucks over that we use. So we're told that it is acceptable and should be fine. So we have no idea what that looks like. We have no idea what we hope there's a roof, and we hope there are sides and all of the rest. So it's, that's kind of it's a little nerve-wracking. Yeah.
But I think you could trust the Duda Corporation. They're really top of the line transporting horses. Yeah.
Exactly. So
they say it's okay. I think it's going to be okay.
I believe so. So we're really putting our trust in that. So I think that was one of the biggest things. That it was like, what's that going to look like? Yeah. So venue-wise, I think we're being told everything is pretty small and together, and it's very nice. Like the footing is excellent, the stabling is excellent, and it's all sort of high quality. So yeah, I mean, I feel pretty okay about that. I think it's going to be good. It'll be an adventure. I've never been to South America before, ever. So, why not? We're going to actually be there 5 days before we start competing. So it's kind of neat, because we'll have time to tour around a little bit, hopefully, providing all the horses arrive well and all that is good. And we have a little bit of time to do a little sightseeing, I think.
That's cool. That's
Wonderful.
Cool. And Tina, you also are a mom. Do the kiddos get to go?
Oh boy. Yeah. So not this time. Because my mom actually is coaching a junior rider and at the Young Rider Championships, and it conflicts. It goes running the same time as Pan Am's, and she's a young girl. She's, I think, 14 only, or 15. And, she can't let her go alone. So she said, "I'm sorry, but I can't go with you to Pan Am's. I've got to go with my student." Yeah. So therefore, if we were to have some grandparents come, for sure the kids would have come. Yeah. But because it's just Jamie and myself, it's really not realistic, because we don't have time for them, and they wouldn't like it, and we wouldn't be able to we're there to focus on doing
Sure.
this. So unfortunately not this time. Gavin, our oldest, he was a little bit upset by that. He likes to travel but maybe next time.
Yeah, next time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wondered because that is a challenge for sure. And you do an amazing job balancing riding and being a mom and all that good stuff. I really it's amazing. I watch you on Facebook and I'm like, gosh, I don't know how she does it. So that makes sense that you guys can focus a little.
Yeah. I'm honestly it's challenging. Like to do everything. It's even right now just packing and looking after the kids and their needs and, all the everyday stuff. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting to the staging camp and having that time to be out of my daily grind and just focus on what I'm doing and what I'm supposed to be doing, because there are just so many other elements to your life that I think that for me, that was really key going into Mexico. We had a 2-week training camp prior, and it was so nice to just be able to focus on your main horse and riding, and really that was it. So it helped me really prepare that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like you said, this is your second time going to a big game, so you know what to do and how to deal with the family life. It's a huge part of it. But we cannot wish you as much luck and good fortune on your trip, and we can't wait to hear about the trip. I'm going to be watching on Facebook for sure to hear how it goes. So if our listeners wanted to find you online or find more information out, how can they do that?
So probably Facebook is the best way, because I'm hoping to do some sharing of our story going and our journey. So we are under Stony Lake Equestrian, home of Team Irwin. And my own personal Facebook page is Tina Bussa Irwin, which is my maiden name first. And, we do have a website, which is Team Irwin Dressage, which has kind of the standard stuff. But I would say Facebook is best for all the keeping up to date.
Fantastic. Well, we can't wait to follow your journey, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, right after this break from Kentucky Performance Products, we actually have Karen Isberg, who is the president of KPP. She's going to come on in her other capacity, which I know well, which is her riding capacity, and chronicling her journal with her horse Oreo. And we hope you enjoy.
The sun is just peeking above the tree line as you walk into the barn. You grab your horse's halter off the hook and head out to the field. The dew shimmers in the sun as you walk across the damp grass. You call his name and his head comes up as he walks toward you, looking for the apple in your pocket. You take your time grooming, enjoying the peace and quiet in the empty barn. A refreshing breeze greets you as you start down the tree-lined path. Your horse ambles along on a loose rein as you both enjoy a relaxing ride. The feeling you get on an early morning hack is why we do what we do at Kentucky Performance Products. This feeling is brought to you by Microphase. Fill the nutritional gaps in your horse's diet. Microphase Vitamin and Mineral Supplement is a low-calorie way to provide your horse with the vitamins and minerals missing from their diet. The horse that matters to you matters to us.
Well, tonight we are very happy to have Karen Isberg staying on for her Adult Amateur Spotlight. She is the owner of Kentucky Performance Products and a very dedicated adult amateur. And she is coming on to give us an update on how her and her horse Oreo are doing this month. Hi, Karen. Welcome back.
Hi, thanks. It's great to be here. It's always fun to talk about Oreo.
I know. And we were talking how quickly this month has gone by. It's crazy.
I know. It's just, the whole year has gone by fast. And, Reese, it's been 9 months ago that I bought this horse.
I know.
That you found him for me and that I bought him. And I just can't believe it's been that long.
I can't either. And it's been about a year since you've been back riding, a little over a year.
Yep, a little over a year. Yeah, that time has flown by too.
It really has flown, hasn't it?
It has, but it's been hard work.
It is, and you work very, very hard. And I think that was our spotlight last month, was right talking about just general overall fitness. And you've definitely improved, I think, in that department tremendously. So what are some things you wanted to, what has happened this month that has really been really helpful?
Well, I think this month, now that I'm actually physically stronger and I have some core muscles, when we talk about in dressage, particularly that it all comes from the seat, and I think I'm really starting to understand that. I mean, intellectually, these things in your brain, but until you're physically able to do it, the connection that doesn't really come through. And so I think there was a few times where, I came into the barn after a lesson or after riding by myself, and I was really excited, and I'm like, Reese, you're not going to believe it. But, when I sat down and back, all I had to do was tighten my core to get Oreo to give me a half halt. And you're just like, yay. And I think it's, that was huge for me this month because I had so much trouble sitting back anyway. Mm-hmm. And not pinching with my knees and just stopping all the forward motion with my seat. That it's been really fun to realize that when I do sit back and I do sit down, then I can use my legs in a better, and my hands become more independent. And the horse you can almost see him go, oh, thank God.
I love it. Well, it's true. I mean, you've definitely have a couple light bulbs. Like you're great because you really get the light bulbs now, and it's so fun because you're like, oh my gosh, look at me. Now we do have a bet which I really want to do before our next segment. Do you remember what it is?
Yeah, that if I sit in the right place and sit back and down for the entire lesson, I get to take you out to dinner.
I know, it's so great.
Your choice.
And I promise, so my end of the deal is I can't be like, oh, you're so perfect. Like we run a nice dinner.
Exactly. You're the judge and you're getting the dinner. So.
Yes, so good. And Dominique, our wonderful assistant,
send me a video. Let me be the judge.
Let's be the judge.
She's so much partial in this whole conveation.
We made it. We made it really far. We really did. We made it really far. Our last lesson, and that was Saturday. You made it almost the whole time. It was awesome.
Almost the whole time, and in the canter, it's been particularly hard for me to stay back, especially to the right. So the fact that I've actually kind of found that spot at the canter where I'm not working so hard to sit there, it's just like, wow, Reese, this is fun.
That's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. And you also found something online. I think I shared it. Probably a bunch of other people did. That was really helpful for you. What was that?
Well, it was Charlotte. Charlotte's quote where she said, "Think of your hands being in front of the saddle and always pushing the horse to the bit, not pulling the horse back." And even when you sit in a chair, if you think about taking your hands and pushing them forward, the first thing you have to do is engage your core and drop your butt into the chair before you can push. And then that also really helped me think about not pulling back on the reins, but either my hand goes forward, or like when we're working on trying to get him round sideways, you're always telling me to put my hand out to the side instead of pulling it back. So just putting that quote in my mind and thinking about that. In fact, I actually printed it out and cut it out and taped it to the dashboard of my car. So that when I'm driving to my lesson, I read that and I think about it. And that for some reason, that just really helped me sit back and down and stopped me from the leaning forward and the pulling back that I was doing. That was, such a problem. And it stops him when I do that. And when I don't do that, he goes forward much more willingly and gets that nice spring in his step. So that really helped me.
Yeah, no, I think that was really helpful. You came in and we did some, I think sometimes we do some off the horse stuff, which is really important because you can sit back and think about it, and you don't have the motion of the horse. And so we had some talk about it, and just in the barn aisle casually, and that was good, and it really made sense to you. And so that's why I think those quotes can be really, really helpful. For everybody to listen and to read, and there's so many good ones that go around on Facebook now.
I think it's good to sort of keep a notebook either in your car. Well, you said you taped it to the dashboard, but a notebook in your car or at the barn in your locker or whatever. Just some things that you're taking from your lessons or from elsewhere, and the books you read or the videos you watch or whatever, and just say, this is what I want to think about I'm going to review it before and after I ride, and after you can scribble a new note or whatever it is, and then, bring it to each lesson, a reminder before you even get on a horse is a reminder. What do I want to do? What am I trying to accomplish? What are some quick reminder things that are going to help me to do that? So you start the lesson off fresh and not just going around and sort of, it's easy to forget what we were doing the day before, or if you have a weekly lesson the week before, you need to review it, every day before you start getting into the work. And then it does no good to get into the work and then sort of remind yourself like, oh, maybe I should have done that because that's what I did yesterday and I wanted to do that today, but I forgot because I had 100 things going on, and my kids were this and my work was that. You know what I mean? So you have to write it down somewhere, or make a verbal note on your phone. And there's so many great technologies that we can use to remind yourself, to be productive in your lessons, and to bring that to every lesson.
Yeah,
absolutely. And too, if you think about it a little time beforehand, like either I have a long drive to get to Reef, so I have plenty of time to think about it. But it also kind of get in that mode, and it helps you push everything else that's irritating you out of your mind, whatever happened during the day, or whatever argument you have with your kids or your spouse, or if work is stressful, if you can take those few minutes to kind of just get rid of all of that and think about, what am I going to do with my horse today? That I find that really helpful in being able to
get your game face on.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Yeah. I think that's one thing. I think, Phil, you're probably, I'm fairly good at doing that, but I also have to remind myself, like, when your foot's in that stirrup, you're training. And, it's really important to be focused and not think about what you're doing next and where you're going or what's happened. And, I do a lot of yoga work, and that's one of the things that I have to really, really focus on. And that's how I train it a little bit off the horse as well, because that's something I do a lot of things during the day. And so it's, it's easy to let your mind wander. And so I think that's a challenge that we all have. But, we work on it a little bit more, probably Phil and I, just because we ride more horses during the day.
That's it. It's got to be harder because you're doing it for such a long period of time all day. Whereas I come and I have that moment, that hour that I have to be engaged. And so I can think about that time and get into that mode when I'm there. But yeah, you have to do it. It makes a big difference. And then of course, when I get in the car to leave, I'm so much more relaxed because I've kind of let go of everything. And then I don't know, we very rarely have bad rides. I mean, so I almost always get off and go, God, that was great. I learned something. I'm happy. So
yeah,
you're a good trainer, Reese.
Oh, no, thanks. But you're a very good student, and but that's why it works. Because you're very focused on your lesson. You're very interested in what you're doing, and you think about it. And like you said,
use the time as productively as possible, mentally, physically. Got to bring your whole attention to the horse and the ride, and that's what makes a good student, that you can progress and work towards your goals.
Absolutely. Well, fantastic. Well, Karen, fabulous update as always, and we can't wait to hear what our next month is going to bring, and we're looking forward to hearing about it. And if anybody has questions about your journey, but also about Kentucky Performance Products, how can they reach you online?
Oh, they can go to my Facebook page or the Kentucky Performance Products Facebook page. They can go to our website, kppusa.com. There's places there where my email address is up there, actually, so feel free to email me. If you have supplement questions or, just horse questions related to supplements in general, you can call us from 8 to 5. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, we're open, 859-873-2974. And just, if I can't help you with a question, I'll hopefully be able to find somebody that can.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much. And we look forward to our next month's update.
Sounds like fun. I can't wait to get there tomorrow and have my lesson.
Well, Phil, I don't know about you, but I have been using my Total Saddle Fit Stability Stirrup Leathers a lot this week, it being horse show time. And I love them. And I really think they're helping my medium trot and Big Mike. I can tell you, I can sit now.
Well, I have a few students who have gone online and picked these up recently, and I am seeing a improvement in a more stable leg. So I think they must work. I mean, they work for me when I got my pair, and and people are asking me like, is it worthwhile to get these? And I think anything that can help you ride better, is a plus, and you should go for it. And I really like the design of this product. I really like the quality of the leather in which they're made, and I think they're going to last me a long time, because I mean I don't really take the best care of my tack. I mean, it gets a white down each day, but I'm not always great about doing the leather conditioning on a regular basis. It sort of happens when I have to go to a horse show, to be honest.
We do it too. I'm just and Justin's products hold up from Total Saddle Fit. The girths, the stirrups, they hold up great to set abuse, because we both do it. They're fantastic.
That's a great thing about these products from Total Saddle Fit is the quality in which they're made, and the stitching and all of that. So we can both highly recommend them. They get used every day. They get abused a little bit.
Yep.
And they look brand new when they have to go to a horse show. So
yep.
I think you can find answers to all your questions about the products at totalsaddlefit.com.
Well, Phil, this week for our Total Saddle Fit Tip of the Week, we're going to come back with Jennifer Baumert. She's a member of the 2019 USA Lima, Peru Pan American team. Well, for this week's Total Saddle Fit Tip of the Week, we have Jennifer Baumert, FEI rider and trainer and member of the 2019 Pan American Games in Lima, Peru. Jen, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Reese. So happy to be here.
We are really excited about your tip of the week. What do you have for us this week?
Well, basically, I want to just talk about some things that can help keep your training positive, because I think it's really important in training your horse to keep more positive feedback than negative. And that can be really challenging sometimes, because we all know that sometimes we need to, get after and give them a kick, or, I'm not saying that we don't do that, but, really keeping the horse feeling positive about their training, I think, just makes a much happier partner. So one of my big beliefs is, just that really your horse just wants to be comfortable, and a good rider makes all the horse's evasions a little uncomfortable for them, and then the desired outcome, really the easiest thing for them to do, because really that's just what they're trying to do, the easiest thing. And you can see that when you watch a really good rider train a horse, that, they're not fighting with the horse, they're not, getting after him after the fact. They're just kind of like making those evasions not so comfortable. And then, the horse, obviously what we're asking for them is not the easiest thing, but it becomes the easiest thing. So I'm a big believer in that, and really just trying to keep things positive and make the horse at the end of the session that your horse is feeling like, whew, that was hard, but I did it. Not like, oh my God, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, no, I think that's such a good way to think about it. And I always think about it like I'm also their personal trainer, right? Like I'm not as much of a gym rat as I probably should be. Like I don't really love working out, but when I had a personal trainer, like the one I liked the most was one that was like, I know those squats are terrible, but come on, give me 5 more. Yes. You can do it, and like
exactly
that motivated me versus I had one for like a day who was like, I'm really sorry, but like, blah, blah, blah. And like all the negative things. And I was like, I don't really like that trainer. They're really mean to me. Like
Exactly. It's so
it's
true.
The same thing.
And, any of our good, training sessions, it really feels like play. It's like, can you do this? Can you do that? And like, hopefully if you're ahead of your horse and not behind and always correcting, they're like, yeah, sure, I can do that. But, really the more time, setting your horse up for success, like appropriately challenging your horse and frankly yourself, that's going to build that positive, training philosophy. And the more times you set your horse up for success and you say, hey, now can you do it? Versus, and obviously there are very few people who do this on purpose, but when you set them up for, when they're not set up for success, they're, stiff and tight against the rein, and then you say, well, now can you do a shoulder in? You build that no, you don't build the yeses in the horse, you build that no. So, I'm a really big believer in trying to I want to say, and this may not be the best way to say it, but find your advantage. Like before you pressure your horse, make sure that they're supple and nice and on the bit and through the back and there's a good connection, and then apply the pressure, because it's really can be human nature to be like, things are bad, and then you start to get a little bit more assertive or aggressive, rather than saying like, okay, I really need to use my head right now, and kind of, and again, I'm not sure this is the best way to say it, but building your advantage is kind of sometimes what I say, so that you can start to put pressure on when your horse is in a position where they can actually do it, versus,
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think what I try and tell students is to do, an extra 5 minutes in preparation for anything difficult, rather than spending 25 minutes trying to achieve that thing, right? Like if you do a really, really good job preparing, the horse can have success. And then when I have a horse that's sort of I'm having trouble with or whatever, all the basic thing I try and come back to say to them is just, let's just make the right choice and do it once and reward and grab a sugar and then come back to it the next day. Or to say, if you are having trouble, tomorrow I'm going to come back to it and do an extra 5 minutes of preparation to get it right, For
sure. And along those lines, one of the hardest things to do in respect to keeping the training positive and keeping things, moving in the right direction, is take a step back. Like we all want to have our like mental checklist. Okay, horse is on the bit, supple, feels nice in the contact, check, move on. And then when you lose that and you're challenging your horse and you lose a little bit of it, sometimes it's hard to take that step back and be like, hey, you know what, I lost a little bit of, those things on the training scale that we're supposed to be paying attention to.
It's true.
But that can be one of the hardest things is to take that
step back and reestablish those things and really try and prepare. There's never enough of that, right? With the simplest things. Walk trot transitions, 20-meter circles, really do a lot more of the easy things than spending so much time doing the things that are challenging. And I guarantee in the long run, you'll be way further ahead.
Well, and I think just general empathy, right? Like at the end of the day, sometimes we all go to work some days and we're not feeling it. Or, we slept wrong, or we were up late, or our dog got sick, so we were up half the night, like whatever it is, right? And horses have got to have that same feeling. And I think as riders and trainers, we have all our horses, right? Even if you're going, or maybe honestly, you're not really into it, so you're not motivating the horse. You've got to step back and remember that this is a living, breathing creature, that we're really here to make a better athlete all the time. And they maybe don't know a competition is coming or whatever. I had that today. I'm not going to lie. Like my horse, he's been so good the last couple of days. We have a horse show coming, but it is like 95 degrees. And it's so hot. And I came out, he's sweating as I'm tacking him up and I'm thinking, geez, and I went out there, I could feel, he was like, oh, not today. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to do some like fun little things. And then we're going to go for a walk. And I could feel him like, like, okay, I'm cool. But it was really because I was reading him. I was reading the weather, probably reading myself, all those things where, that's the sport. And that's what makes us good riders and trainers.
You bring up a really good point, because I've had a number of mostly mares who have taught me the lesson of getting on your horse and being like, and how are you today? Like, and how are we doing? Like, and I love mares.
Little conversation.
Down. I'm just saying that, like, getting on, just like you're saying, and, it doesn't mean you can't we all have agendas, but you have to get on your horse every day and say, and establish in the warm up, like, all right, how are we today? Is my horse feeling, normal, or, is there something, or myself, or, but that's, a really important thing is to really gauge that, and and to be ready to alter your agenda for the day if need be.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have ridden through my test again today. Like, I was really ready. Like, I'm like, I think we need to go through this again. Like, we're showing on Saturday, but it just wasn't the day, And in my case, I'm not going to the Olympic Games, and I was like, I think I'm better served kind of doing a little something that I wanted to practice from yesterday, and then leave it.
Right.
So. I think that as trainers and riders, that's the keeping it positive and keeping it fun, and you really do have to kind of read all the things that are going on. Absolutely. Well, Jen, We can't thank you enough for coming on for the trainer tip, and we're recording before the Pan Am Games, and we can't wish you guys so much luck as you go down to Peru. And how can our listeners find you online if they have any questions?
They can message me on Facebook.
Fantastic.
And if you're not my friend, then friend me.
Fantastic. Jen, thanks so much.
Thank you, Reese. Thank you so much, both of you. It's a pleasure to be talking with you today.
Well, as always, Phil, we love our email and Facebook shout-outs. Keep them coming, and keep an eye on our Aachen trip. And if you have any questions for me while I'm there, send me an email at reese@horseradionetwork.com. I'll have internet and Wi-Fi, and I'll try to answer them as much as I can. And as always, you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
I think the best way to find me is on Facebook, or my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to put on a good show, and don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we'll talk to you soon.